with Del Olsen here. He's the godfather, as it were, of the International 14 Fleet here in San Francisco Bay. Del, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with this.
I got involved in the canoe class because at the time in 1977 I was sailing an 18-foot skiff, and I met Steve Clark at a one-of-a-kind regatta that Yachting Magazine used to make, and we were the only three. There were three fully battened sails there. There was a Taser, a new Taser, the 18, and a canoe, and the two of us were wood boats, and so we had this immediate affinity. We were sharing pieces and stuff. About 3 years later, one of them showed up outside of a shop in Alameda, a friend of mine's shop, and he says, I know what that is. I've seen those before. So can I have a ride? And the guy said, that's what it's out here for. So I took it out for a ride, and if you've ever had the experience of like falling in love with something the first time you see it, that was pretty much it. It went so well and so easy that got the boat. Said, this is so great, I got to have other people in the fleet, and I got a hold of Scott Owens.
Okay, this was 19 what?
This was to be 1980,
okay.
Fall, like spring of 1980.
Okay.
I went to Whiskey Town that first time. Capsized at the start, got it up, everybody was gone, passed everybody at first mark, capsized, everybody passed me, get it up, pass everybody, capsized at the next mark. That went on at each mark. And I finally figured, if I could figure out how to sail this thing, I could be pretty fun and pretty fast. So that started it. And then Scott came along. We tuned up. He bought a boat. We tuned up. We went to the Canoe Worlds in '81 in Marion, Massachusetts, the two of us. And after that, we just sort of built the fleet one boat at a time.
Okay.
I got to the point at one time, it was like, well, don't have any boats, can't get any boats. Well, we'll just build them. So we did. Brought in a fellow by the name of Eric Chase,
okay.
Who came down to a sail a canoe day, took off in my boat, went around the corner, made a hard left, and I was thinking, oh boy, there goes my rig, he's heading for the circle, and it's blowing 10, 15, 20 knots out there.
Yeah.
He came back a little bloodied, took a lunch break, says, can I go again? I said, sure, go ahead. And he was gone for another hour. Came back, disappeared, and he says, where can I get one of these? So that was the start of the building of the fleet, the actual physical building of boats for the fleet.
Okay, is Doris the Bumblebee his boat?
No, that's a 14.
Oh, sorry.
That's a 14. That's Rand Arnold's boat. And for Rand, a lot of us are carrying little bumblebees, which is his symbol, his sail symbol.
Right.
Because he's in the hospital getting treated for leukemia.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the boats themselves. What is it about the boat that makes it for you?
It is without doubt the sweetest upwind ride of any boat I've ever sailed in my life. And I've sailed dozens, 18s, canoes, 14s, fireballs, 505s, anything I've ever sailed pales in comparison with the ride. It is just the lightest, simplest thing, and it just takes off like a rocket. Finally put a speed puck on one of them this year, and if we were going slow and going really high, we were doing like 7.5 upwind. Press the bow down, we had 9.5, and if you really pressed it, you hit 10 knots. And off the wind in any kind of breeze of 12, 13 knots, you never drop below 10, 11 knots off the wind. And today we were hitting, probably on the reaches, I'd say probably 14s, 15s, easy.
Okay. And the key to actually being in the front of the fleet with this, you had mentioned on the phone last night, something to do with your ability to either stay upright or get yourself corrected.
The best thing, yeah. It's a tough fleet. In this fleet, there's 5 world champions sailing in this, former or current. And you really have to get a decent start, and you have to pick your lane upwind and catch the right shifts and be in the right side of the tide. It's sailboat racing when it gets down to it. It's a little more strategic than mano-a-mano tactical, but it's still sailboat racing in the end. So the success is, today, this afternoon, when the wind piped up and everybody was getting tired, the success was staying upright and having a little speed.
Okay, and where are you most likely to have issues?
Most likely to have issues. It can be happening anywhere. It can happen on a tack, it can happen on a jibe. I managed both of those in that second race. You pay a big price for being upside down. I was probably hanging 7th or 8th, somewhere in there. In a comfortable position, said, I got a jibe, pick a nice wave here. This is like a good one. And I was down speed too slow. was a little bit late getting the boom across, spun out, lost 8 boats.
Okay.
Just like that, gone,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the unique parts of the boat, especially the seat and how it slides forward and backward. Can we
Okay,
walk-
the boat's pretty unique. They evolved out of old-time canoes. The sliding seat being the key to its upwind performance and even for its reaching performance. It's been around since the turn of the 20th century, invented by a guy named Paul Butler. It pulls out, and if I can get it out here all the way, but it goes out over 2 meters from the center of the boat. So you get quite a bit of hiking advantage. If you were on a trapeze, you'd be in here. Think of it as an asymmetric hiking rack for people who are familiar with 18s or 14s or moths or things like that. Only I don't have anything dragging in the water on the other side of the boat. It's also kind of a inanimate crew because it helps you right the boat and it gives you constant. They've evolved from wood, from being straight in a plank holder, to being curved, to being wood, to being now they're all in carbon and foam or Nomex epoxy laminates.
And there's no weight limitations on the board?
There used to be. In the old one designs, it was between 12 and 9 and 12 kilograms. Since we went to the all-up weight, no, you build them as light as you dare.
Okay.
So, and these are usually around 7 kilograms is the current standard.
Okay.
It also moves fore and aft, which is something that Mr. Moss over here, former world champion, I'll be former after this one, that really developed in the mid-'80s. He's the one who got this system to work, so the seat goes fore and aft on the fly.
And you slide it back when you're going off wind and
Off wind, yes. Today I was completely in the back of the bus, as far back as I could get it to go. And at one point on the second reach, I just dumped the main sheet entirely and it went to the knot. It was blowing so hard.
Okay. One thing I've noticed about the crew, there seems to be a very wide range of ages of sailors on it. Some up in their 60s. Do we have anybody in their 70s yet?
Nobody in their 70s. Colin Brown, who just finished right soon ahead of me, he's the oldest at 65.
Okay.
There's a bunch of us at 64, 63. And there's kind of a joking on the check-in board is there was an age limit on the races yesterday, and nobody over 62 finished. So, you know, as the wind speed goes up, the age of the finishers tends to go down.
Okay. Okay. And how hard was it to get the Worlds here back in '93? And were you part of that as well?
Yes, I was the organizer for that one. We'd had 2 previous Worlds that were kind of light air venues. So when I stood up at the banquet and said, "Would you like to go to someplace where the wind blows?" They all cheered until they came here, and then they said, "Well, maybe." And that's kind of the same thing here. You know, everybody's going, "Yeah, let's go for some wind," and we're finding what the limits of the endurance are.
Okay. And the set wind limit for this regatta?
There's a rules limit for Worlds of 10 meters a second, or about 21.5 knots.
Okay.
So far, we haven't quite exceeded that. By the race committee's count, I think if you talk to a lot of the sailors, they'd say, "Oh yeah, we hit it," but you know, they have the anemometers, not us.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thanks for your show and tell, and good luck on the rest of the regatta.
Thank you.